Okay, we're doing practice problems for Unit 7, Lesson 5. Write a positive or negative number to represent each change in the high temperature. Today's high temperature was 4 degrees less than Monday's high temperature, so that would be a -4. Wednesday's high temperature was 3.5 degrees less than Tuesday's temperature, so -3.5. C, Thursday's high temperature was 6.5 degrees more than Wednesday's high temperature. So you can either put the positive sign or not. You don't have to when it's positive. And that would be a 6.5. Friday's high temperature was 2 degrees less than Thursday's, so it would be a -2. Number 2, decide which of the following quantities can be represented by a positive number and which can be represented by a negative number. Give an example of a quantity with the opposite sign in the same situation. So Tyler's puppy gained 5 pounds. The opposite, that is positive. And the opposite would be lost 5 pounds. The aquarium leaked 2 gallons of water, so that is negative. It's losing water. And the positive, the opposite would be water added. Andre received a gift of $10. That's positive. And the opposite would be gave $10. Kieran gave a gift of $10. That's negative. And the opposite would be received. And E, a climber descended 550 feet. That would be negative. That means he went down the hill, so positive would be ascended with an A, A-S-C-E. And that would be the same as climbing 550 feet. Okay, so number 3 says, make up a situation where a quantity is changing. So, what does it mean to have a negative change? So if you're selling candy, every time you sold one, you'd have a negative amount of candy bars. Explain what it means to have a positive change. So every time if you were to get more candy to sell, or like the money, you would be amount of money. Every time you sell a candy, your positive change would be the amount of money you have. And I already gave the example in each one of those. All right, so number 4, on the number line, label the points that are 4 units away from 0. So 4 and -4 are both 4 units away from 0. If you fold the number line so the vertical crease goes through 0 at this point, the label will match up. Explain why this happens. So they're saying if you fold it here, the 4 and the 4 would match up. Well, because they're both the same distance from each other, so that's why that would happen. And then C, on the number line, label the points that are 5's halves away from 0. What is the distance between these points? So 5 halves is the same as 2.5, so it would be here and here. And the distance between them, 2.5 and 2.5, you're adding that up, so it would be 5. So 2.5 here, 2.5 here. The distance between the two is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, number 5, evaluate the expressions. This would be 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24. B, 4 squared, 16 divided by 2 is 8. 3 to the first power is 3. 6 squared is 36 divided by 4, which is 9. 2 to the third is 8 minus 2, which is 6. And 10 squared is 100 plus 5 squared is 25, so that would be 125. And that is it for lesson 5.